If you feel like something is wrong with everything that is happening nowadays, but you can't figure out why, I can tell you that millions of people feel the same way as you do. In this video, I will try to provide educational answers to your questions. It is essential to note that I am not influenced by either party, being an independent thinker, so you can expect that this video and all of my other videos will come from an unbiased perspective. So let's get it. Before the presidential election on November 4th, 2024, Donald Trump's vice president-elect, J.D. Vance, recorded this interview with Tucker Carlson, stating what the media would do once Trump won the election.
Trump's main campaign platforms, one of the main things that he talks about, and of course, I think he learned in some ways the hard way during his first 4 years in office, is the president recognizes that if you have people in your government who you tell to do something and they disobey you, that's not like checks and balances. They're part of your government. The check and balance is the House, the Senate, the judiciary,
Exactly.
right? If the people in your own government aren't obeying you, you have got to get rid of them and replace them with people who are responsive to what the president is trying to do. If you don't have that, you don't have a real democratic
accountability. You've got to be a nut cutter because that's the system at stake.
That's right.
That's democratic control. How do voters have any control over their government if the people they elect have no control?
That's exactly right, man. And again, it's we have to sort of remind ourselves that it's real people who suffer because of this, right? There are Americans who are dead because the Joint Chiefs of Staff didn't listen to the President of the United States when he said you need to do troop redeployments out of Syria. There are veterans who are dead because the VA does not function as well as it could because the president needs to be able to fire, again, the small number, but the small number of people who aren't doing their job. And that same story repeats itself, rinse and repeat through the entire American government. You have got to have basic democratic accountability. And I think, most Americans recognize, like, look, we're fine with, bureaucrats making a reasonable salary. We're fine with people having a good life, but they've got to do their job, right? When you're in public service, you've got to do your job. And whether you're an elected official or an unelected bureaucrat, if you're not doing your job, you got to get out there and make way for somebody who will.
So if you guys win and you start firing people who are acting against orders of their commander-in-chief and against the expressed will of voters, the New York Times will call it a fascist takeover.
That's exactly right.
So the question is, do you care?
Well, I think we have to not care. Now, you have to care about public opinion, of course, because you have to actually make the case to the American people.
But if you're acting on behalf of the public,
you have to say, look, it's what's so funny about it is it's the opposite, right? Real democracy is when the elected leaders the voters elect actually make the decisions in the government.
Right.
But fascism, if it's anything, it's that the voters don't get any say in how their government actually operates. So fascism, if it's anything, it's that the voters don't get any say in how their government actually operates. So I think you have to do it. And look, man, I've been in politics all of 2 years, but there are all of these really subtle ways in which the media, the tech sector, the people who call the shots try to manipulate the American public and manipulate political leadership into not doing the things the American people actually want. So here, let me give you an example. Mark this down. I guarantee in 18 months or so, we're going to have, this is going to be prophetic. So right now, according to public opinion polling, 65% of Americans, give or take, support mass deportations, meaning 25 million people here, you've got to send some of them back to where they came from, okay? That's a common sense issue. 2/3 of Americans, give or take, support it. In 18 months, there will be media stories and there will be public opinion polls to back it up that actually Americans do not support mass deportations, that Donald Trump is doing all of these terrible things and he has to stop. It's inhumane, it's evil, and the American public don't support it. The same people who put those public opinion polls together are the same people who say, for example, that Donald Trump was going to lose Wisconsin by 17 points. Remember that? 3 days before the 2020 election, Donald Trump was supposed to lose Wisconsin by 17 points. And set to the side all of the debates about what happened in 2020, Wisconsin was basically a tied election. So these guys use public polls, they use the media, not even just to manipulate public opinion, but to manipulate our leadership about what public opinion actually says.
So how does that happen? So those polls are fake, is what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely, they're fake. They're absolutely fake.
Almost everything he mentioned would happen is quickly becoming a reality. Trump is currently filling his cabinet with people who are said to make drastic changes within the government that will eliminate the swamp and give power back to the people. Vance mentioned that the media will work overtime to manipulate the public into opposing President Trump's agenda for America. He noted that the administration's plan for mass deportations would prompt the media to create and release fake public polls, suggesting that Americans are against these deportations, which are set to begin on Trump's first day in office. In reality, many Americans actually support this plan. Behind the scenes, extremist groups that some evil people in their organizations fund are recruiting people right now to execute their plans to disrupt President Trump's inauguration on January 20th, 2025, a scene that we have seen before during Trump's first inauguration.
Grenades and pepper spray. Before the swearing-in ceremony even began, protesters tried to block checkpoint entrances. During President Trump's speech, several demonstrators were escorted out of the area. Several officers injured during the protest today, and more than 100 people arrested. Tonight, thousands of protesters remain in downtown D.C., occasionally facing off with police. We have seen many people injured, both protesters and police officers.
Yeah, they're planning to riot and protest against Trump again, this time with a twist. Also, I'm guessing these types of videos will look different according to today's exit polls, which show the majority of men voted for Trump, the majority of women voted for Harris, and the majority of these men and women who voted for Harris were black. The last time we saw crowds of black men and women similarly take to the streets was during the Civil Rights era. So will we see large crowds of angry black men and women in videos like this? I doubt it very seriously, but let's not forget how the Democrats jumped to the media to entice the public to do something about Trump. Here's a clip of Democrat Congressman Dan Goldman sending a warning message to Trump and his supporters.
It's just unquestionable at this point that that man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated.
The Democrats clarified that they will prevent Trump from becoming president even if he won the election.
Joe Biden's been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States.
Whoa.
It would absolve her from being able to from having to oversee the January 6th transition, right, of her own defeat. And it would make sure that it would dominate the news at a point where Democrats have to learn drama and transparency and doing things that the public want to see is the time. This is the moment for us to change the entire perspective of how Democrats
operate. This has now jumped from an internet meme to a Sunday morning show.
Jamal's out here right now.
Congratulations.
Season of House of Cards.
I thought you were going to say, what about the Supreme Court? That's also out there.
Well, the Supreme Court might happen. I don't know if it will, but
we all know that Trump did win, but listen to Democrat Congressman Jamie Raskin say what will happen after Trump wins.
Again, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient because what can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress, so it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified, and then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means.
He gave the date of January 6, 2025, and they are currently recruiting people right now through multiple extremist groups who are well known for violent protesting. According to reports, flyers are presently posted on college campuses in Washington, D.C., instructing students to, quote, fight fascism. The Cambridge Dictionary defines fascism as a political system based on a very powerful leader, state control, and being extremely proud of country and race, and in which political opposition is not allowed. In contrast, Dictionary.com defines it as a system of government led by a dictator who typically rules by forcefully and often violently suppressing opposition and criticism, controlling all industry and commerce, and promoting nationalism and often racism. These are two distinctively different definitions that will purposely sway public opinion. These flyers are equipped with QR codes, and when you scan them with your phone, it brings up a collection of links, quote, inviting individuals to fight fascism by joining groups like the People's Medic Collective, the DMV Students for Justice in Palestine, and the Socialist Action Initiative. The trio of groups were recently involved in the pro-Palestine protests that took place in the nation's capital, following Hamas' October 7th terrorist attacks in Israel, which were rife with illegal activity. End quote. These flyers display the messages, "What now? Fight fascism, start today," and "Turn your anger into action," encouraging people to join their left-wing organizations. I say this because the Tides Foundation calls itself a, quote, left-leaning donor-advised fund, and is a proud founder of the Students for Justice in Palestine organization I mentioned. The Tides Foundation is also mainly funded by George Soros, the same funder of all left-leaning organizations like Black Lives Matter, an org that stole donations from Black Americans by lying to them, saying that they would assist them in receiving justice against police brutality, but instead they purchased million-dollar mansions and left the organization to dry up once their job to steal money and people's attention was complete. But let's not forget that in the past, Donald Trump said that he would do one thing when he actually does another. For example, during his first campaign for president, Donald Trump said that he would drain the swamp and that he would lock up Hillary Clinton numerous times throughout his campaign.
By the way, Hillary Clinton is missing 30,000 emails. They've been deleted. 30,000. 30,000 emails. And remember I said I was a counterpuncher? I am. After what she said about me today in her phony speech, that was a phony speech. That was a Donald Trump hit job. I will say this, Hillary Clinton has to go to jail, okay? She has to go to jail. Has to go. That was a phony hit job. She's guilty as hell. And I'm saying, what the hell are they talking about? We have to win, right? We have to win. We didn't come this far to lose. So we're going to play California because I think Hillary is very weak. I think she's pathetic. I think she should be in jail for what she did with her emails, okay? She should be in jail. She should be in jail for what she did with those emails. Let me tell you.
I didn't think I'd say this, but I'm going to say it. And I hate to say it. But if I win, I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation, because there has never been so many lies, so much deception. There has never been anything like it.
This just came out. This just came out. WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks. And I said, write a couple of them down. Let's see. During a speech, crooked Hillary Clinton. Oh, she's crooked, folks. She's crooked as a $3 bill. Okay, here's one. Just came out. Lock her up is right. No. She gets the subpoena, and after, not before, that would be bad. But after getting the subpoena to give over your emails and lots of other things, she deleted the emails. She has to go to jail.
Crooked Hillary is doing no more public events until after the debate. They say she's doing debate prep, but really she's just resting. She's resting. Tell you what, for what she's done, they should lock her up. She's disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
I mean, Crooked Hillary spent 3 or 4 times more money than us, right? So Crooked Hillary, you should lock her up, I'll tell you. I'm telling you, that Biden family, and others, but that Biden family is corrupt. It's a corrupt family. And with me and my kids, let me tell you, my kids, I'll tell you something, though, and it's fair to lock them up. You should lock them up. Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary. Lock them up.
But on June 3rd of this year, during an interview with Fox News, he denied saying any of this and blamed his supporters for saying lock her up.
What Rachel asked you, though, because I hear you struggling with it. I hear you say it's a tough question, a bit unsure. Yeah. You famously said regarding Hillary Clinton, lock her up. You declined to do that as president. But now,
and purposely, because after I won, you know, it's different when you win. I see it tonight. I'm going to UFC with Dana White. And I see fighters, they come in with hatred like you wouldn't believe it. It's amazing. It's a little metaphor on life, right? The hatred, they hate each other. Then after the fight, somebody wins, somebody loses. Sometimes they get knocked out. Sometimes it's... But they hug and they kiss each other. It's like crazy. I beat her. It's easier when you win. And they all said, lock her up. And I felt, and I could have done it, but I felt it would have been a terrible thing. And then this happened to me. And so I may feel differently about it. I can't tell you, I'm not sure I can answer the question. Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people would all say lock her up, lock her up. Okay. Then we won. And I said pretty openly, I say, all right, come on, just relax. Let's go. We got to make our country great.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can answer the question. Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people would all say lock her up, lock her up. I didn't say lock her up, but the people would all say lock her up, lock her up. I didn't say lock her up, but the people would all say lock her up, lock her up, lock her up.
You heard him. He denied saying that he said to lock her up when I played multiple clips of him saying so. And he also said that they said that. They meaning his MAGA supporters. In case you don't think he was referring to his supporters, he doubled down on this in August of this year during a press conference. Listen closely to what he says and how he slickly changes the topic on purpose.
Mr. President, President Biden is now not to pardon his son Hunter, who is now a convicted felon and facing more felony charges in his upcoming trial for alleged tax evasion. Would you consider granting clemency or a pardon?
I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about it. I think it's a tragic story. You want to know the truth. And I felt that with Hillary Clinton, too. You know, with Hillary Clinton, I could have done things to her that would have made your head spin. I thought it was a very bad thing. Take the wife of a president of the United States and put her in jail. And then I see the way they treat me. That's the way it goes. But I was very protective of her. Nobody would understand that, but I was. I think my people understand it. They used to say, lock her up, and I'd say, just relax, please. We won the election. I think it would be I think it would have been horrible for our country and we had her between the hammering of all of the files. And don't forget, she got a subpoena from the United States Congress. And then after getting the subpoena, she destroyed everything that she was supposed to get. I thought it was so bad to take her and put her in jail. I thought it was so bad
to take her and put her in jail, the wife of a president of the United States, and then when it's my turn, nobody thinks that way. I thought it was a very terrible thing. And she did a lot of very bad things. I'll tell you what, she was pretty evil. But in terms of the country and in terms of unifying the country, bringing it back, to have taken her and to have put her in jail, and I think you know the things as well as I do. There were some pretty bad acts that she did. I think it would have been very bad for our country. And a lot of my people, a lot of the MAGA, as they call them, but the base. And I think the base is 75% of the country, far beyond the Republican Party, because we're a party of common sense, and I'm a person of common sense. I want to have low taxes. I want to have strong borders. I want to have a strong military so that China and Russia, look, they've allowed China and Russia to do the impossible combined.
Could this be America's last election if Donald Trump wins? Listen to what the former president told a Christian group at the Turning Point USA Believers Summit in West Palm Beach. The former president telling the crowd that if they re-elect him to the White House, they won't have to worry about voting ever again.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
He said it 3 times. Now,
see, what the public has to realize is that the enemy is on code with their plans. And what's alarming is how easily Donald Trump became the new incoming president for a second time without any cheating during the election this time around. Their code language is numbers, and Trump was president number 45 and is now president number 47. 4 plus 5 is 9, and then 4 plus 7 is 11. So that's 9/11. 911 is nationally recognized as the number to call for emergency assistance. It also evokes memories of September 11th, 2001, which may suggest the need for emergency assistance in their internal camps, as though it was an inside job. So with that being said, is Donald Trump the emergency relief for us, the people, or for them? I'm just here to make you think. Slow down. Yeah. Sub up, light up.